By a Bernie Sanders supporter, Congressman Raul Grijalva of Arizona, and Neera Tanden, president of the Center for American Progress, and an informal advisor to the Clinton campaign. Well, Neera, let me start with you. This is twice now in 2 days that Joe Biden has gone out of his way with this line, "I don't think of Republicans as my enemy," coming a week after Hillary Clinton bragged about having Republicans as her enemy. He also said something interesting today. He was saying that in the Obama administration, we quote, "We've had two great secretaries of state, but when I go overseas, I'm speaking for the president." He's taking some shots at your candidate, isn't he?
You know, I have a lot of respect for the vice president, and if he enters this race, I think that there will be a good discussion of different leadership styles, different visions for the country. Hillary's put out a number of ideas on that score. I would say on the issue of Democrats and Republicans, look, I think we have a situation where the Republican Party has moved very far right. In fact, so far right, they can't even manage to have a speaker in the House of Representatives, can't manage to select one. And Democrats want candidates who can make compromises with Republicans, but also know how to stand up for our values, stand up for democratic values, and know when to really stand our ground. So, you know, I think Hillary is not going to shy away from taking the fight to Republicans, and, you know, we'll see where the vice president goes.
Congressman Grijalva, I'm curious what you made of that moment at the debate last week where Hillary Clinton was asked, every candidate was asked, which enemy are you most proud of? And one of she cited the Republicans, the Republican Party. That's a hit with the Democratic audience, but when you think ahead to the general election, when you think ahead to swing voters, do you think that's the kind of talk people in this country, swing voters in this country, want to hear? I see my enemy as the other party.
I think in the general election, it's going to be a battle of ideas. It's going to be a battle of visions. And I think you have to be very clear about where you stand on certain issues. And if that differentiates you from the Republican candidate, the Republican Party, so be it. But right now, I think the American people, as this election continues to evolve and the anticipated entrance of Vice President Biden into this race, it'll continue to evolve. But, you know, Senator Sanders has been pretty clear about making a clear line of distinction on where he stands on economic issues, on issues in terms of the role of government in the lives of the American people. Those distinctions are not going to go away, and if there's common ground on those, I think that we need to work toward that. But I think there'll be distinctions made all the way through this.
And Neera, this new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, we've been talking about some interesting numbers in here, and a lot of these are continuations of things we've been talking about, but I'm curious what you make of it. We ask, do you consider Hillary Clinton honest and straightforward? 26% say yes, only 1 in 4 people, 50% saying no, 44% saying they're not satisfied with her response to the Benghazi attack. She actually does slightly worse against the prospective Republican field than Bernie Sanders does. When you move outside the Democratic primary, there's a lot of good news here for her on the Democratic side, but when you move outside of it, there seems to be a lot of resistance to her. What do you make of that?
Well, look, we've spent months and months and months talking about emails, and Republicans have had a single focus on attacking Hillary's character. And so, you know, there's going to be an effect of that. But I think we all look forward to the hearings on Thursday where, you know, after answering a lot of questions from reporters and going through a hearing already, she's going to take a series of questions, really answer all the questions people have, and, you know, I think we can move on from that. I mean, I think the reality is that Democrats liked her response during the debate where she was actually talking about issues and her vision. And I think if she's able to do that over the next several months, her numbers will move with the country as well.
And Congressman Grijalva, also from this same poll, this jumped out at me. We asked, do you 70%, actually 7 in 10 voters saying that they have reservations or are uncomfortable with the idea of having a socialist as president. Bernie Sanders, of course, a self-described Democratic socialist. Is that number right there, 70%, is that prohibitive in terms of him winning a presidential election?
I don't think so. I think that as we go through, and I said that the American people will reach a point where they're listening to issues. You know, right now it's about the message, and the messenger is Bernie Sanders. Whether people accept that or not, it's kind of irrelevant. There is a huge base in the Democratic Party, and I would suggest with the American voter that listen to what he's saying, listen to that message, support it, and it behooves all candidates to not only pay attention to that message, but not to sell it short, ignore it, or put it on the back burner. And I think what Bernie's done, whether he calls himself whatever, is to bring those issues to the forefront.
All right, Congressman Raul Grijalva and Neera Tanden, thank you both for joining us.